I was born in a small country called Suriname in South America. I don't think many people ever heard of the country. It's famous for some soccer players. But I grew up in Holland. So I did all my studies in Holland. I first studied mathematics. And after mathematics, I studied actual sciences, basically insurance mathematics. And after that, I became a fellow of the Dutch Society of Actuaries. So I started my career in Amsterdam, working for one of the largest insurance companies in the world. And in 2020, I moved to Asia. It was supposed to be a 2-year assignment in Japan, but it's now 2020 and I haven't come back. I don't think in the near term I will go back to Holland. But over the last 20 years, I've been doing insurance across different aspects: strategy, actuarial science, risk management, etc. And now I joined KBZ back in February 2018, and now running the company as the CEO. As for KBZ MS itself, the history is that we were the first private insurance company in Myanmar. So actually our license number is 001. And we started off as a composite. What it means is that we were selling both general insurance and life insurance. Last year, we split the company into 2 separate legal entities: KBZ Life, selling life insurance, and KBZ MS, our current company, selling general insurance. So things like motor, fire, and some other products. So our original name was KBZ, and it was a composite. Started from June 2013. And then last year, we broke up the company in KBZ MS, KBZ Life. So KBZ actually doesn't exist anymore as an insurance company. And MS is from our joint venture partner, MSI Japan. And MSI Japan is the largest general insurance company in Asia. And in Japan, they're in the top 3. So going back to the 2 main product lines, retail and corporates. For retail, our main target segment are the middle segment, the mass market, mass affluent. Having said that, what we also started to develop is so-called micro-insurance product, where we target people without a bank account, where we partner up with e-wallets, for example, KBZ Pay, and offer cheap, affordable micro-insurance. So that's for the retail market in terms of target segments. For the corporate segment, we target basically all corporates, starting from small SMEs up to large conglomerates. So in the end, if you look at the positioning of KBZ MS, we are a full-fledged, full suite general insurance company, catering to all the different segments with our general insurance products. Yeah, so as with many companies, it took us a bit by surprise. But thankfully, we had a good BCP plan in place. So we did a few things. Our first priority was to protect our employees. So like with many companies in Myanmar, we implemented a whole range of safety measures. So we did things like work from home, working in shifts, so team A, team B. We had temperature checks, we distributed face masks, we distributed hand sanitizers. So that's the first step, make sure that our employees are safe. The second is our sales staff, so be it our life planners, our agents. So we stepped up our efforts when it comes to digital or remote recruitment, online training. We're now training our sales staff, our life planners, to prospect digitally, to conduct the sales process digitally. It's still work in progress, but that's the second piece of the COVID-19 response. The third big bucket in terms of the response to COVID-19 is taking a step back and reflecting on our business model. So digital has always been one of our top priorities, even before COVID-19 hit. But now with COVID-19, we're accelerating some of our digital projects. So our response was built around 3 themes. The first one is prevention. How do you prevent getting COVID-19? The second one is education. What is COVID-19? And the third one is protection. How do you handle once you get COVID-19? So for the first one, prevention, we made sure that we put the measures in place to protect our employees. So we had temperature checks at the branches. The second one was education/communication. Because what we noticed in the early days of the COVID-19 is that there was a lot of information going around, and sometimes misinformation is one of the downsides of social media. So for us, one of the priorities was that to make sure that our employees get the right information, that we give them the right information with regard to what COVID-19 is, what kind of steps they can take to minimize risk of infection, and also communication to the wider public. So we have billboards across the country, and we repurposed all our billboards with safety tips. So we educated the general public about COVID-19 and the main steps everyone can take to minimize risk of infection. And also we use our social media quite actively in terms of educating the general public about COVID-19. The challenge was striking the right tone, because on the one hand, you want people to be very diligent and alert, but you don't want to cause a panic. The last one is protection. So what we did is a few things. One is we donated in collaboration with the bank and the group to several charities. And we also launched, as the first insurance company in Myanmar, a so-called COVID-19 campaign. So in the event you get infected by COVID-19 and you go to an outpatient visit or hospitalization, or in the extreme scenario, if you pass away, we would give extra payouts for free of charge. We just extended our campaign from September 14th to December 13th, where the extra payment is actually 100%. So those are the 3 responses we had to the COVID-19 pandemic. Yes, in good ways and bad ways. So let me start with the good first. So the one silver lining in the whole pandemic is that while the insurance awareness is low, with the pandemic, people are now more aware of protecting themselves against unexpected medical costs. So for example, our health business has been increasing. The other positive is our claims experience. So with the curfew during Tinjan and now the continued curfew, what we see is that our motor claims are reducing. For example, in April 2020, our motor claims were about half compared to April 2019. So those are the positives of the COVID-19. The downside is the sales. As I explained before, insurance is still very much a face-to-face process. You have to really sit down with somebody, explain in person what insurance is, why you need it. So having less face-to-face contact means that the sales process is a bit affected. We have to retrain our salespeople, our life planners, to use more digital tools, which is not easy, but it's work in progress. So those are the main impact of COVID-19 on the insurance business. The other thing is the small businesses. So what we have seen is that throughout this year, many of the small businesses either go out of business or they deprioritize insurance because they're strapped for cash, and they're more likely not to renew their fire policy or their motor policy. And lastly, the biggest impact for us is the travel business. Before COVID-19 hit, we were the market leader in the travel business, the domestic travel business where you take buses between cities. Our market share was 51%, the largest market share in the travel business in Myanmar. But in April and May, the whole business almost went to zero because of the travel restrictions. In June, July, it started picking up. But now with the recent lockdown of Yangon, it goes down again. So we foresee that over the next few months, our travel business will still be affected by the COVID-19 crisis. So insurance companies have two sources of income. One is what we call underwriting profit. Basically, you sell products, you charge premium, you collect premium, and then you pay out claims and expenses. That's called underwriting profit. The other source is your investment profits. And for most insurance companies, the investment profit is the main source of revenue. If there's one change I would like to promote or champion with the government is to allow insurance companies to invest in a wider universe of assets, because now we're quite restricted. So on the one hand, the regulations restrict us in terms of what we're able to invest in and allowed to invest in. And second is the type of assets. For example, in Myanmar, we don't have a well-developed bond market yet, be it government bonds or corporate bonds. So if that infrastructure around assets, more assets, access to assets is improved, then it will help the insurance industry tremendously.